Hey guys, and welcome to another Thriving Millennial video. Please forgive my voice, I'm still a little bit sick, I don't know if you can tell. This video is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to be reviewing anything, I'm not going to be singing. This is going to be an advice video. This is something I have to do for class, and it took me a little bit of time to figure out what I was going to talk about. As I've mentioned in multiple past videos, I don't pretend to be an expert on anything. On mental health, on social media, on even on my own life. So figuring out something that I would feel confident giving advice on took me a bit of time, but I did settle on something that I'm pretty excited about. So this is going to be advice to my past self. It's not going to be a specific time, not going to be advice to my 15-year-old self, advice to my 20-year-old self, because I hope to look back on this in a year and be able to take advantage of it then, or any time. I think it should just be advice to myself, and I hope it's vague enough yet important enough that this advice can carry on to you as well, and it's something I'm really passionate about, so I hope you get something out of it as well. So the first step in my advice to my past self video is not to give up. When I look back on things that I was doing as a kid, as a teenager, I was taking piano lessons, I was taking dance lessons, I was playing sports. There were a lot of little things that would happen, or not so little. In piano I would just get bored, or in volleyball I had a coach who was awful to me. She treated me like crap. She made my self-esteem go plummeting when I was 15 years old. I was great at volleyball. I decided I would never play again after I had this coach, and I really wish I would have kept going. Things like that, because 10, 15 years down the road, you would be so far along. I could have been an expert piano player. I could have been an athlete. I could have done so many things, and it's something that I don't look back on and feel sad. I do regret stopping some of these things, but it's stuff that I want to imagine my 40-year-old self telling me now. Don't give up on the Thriving Millennial. Don't give up on the books you want to write. Don't give up on acting. Don't give up on things you want to do. And I passed along to you as well, whatever stage in your life you're on. Think about things you're doing, and if you are to give up or were to give up on it now, would you regret it 10 years down the road? My second point, and this is more to high school Lindsay, is stop caring so much what other people think. What they think about you, what they think about what you look like, what they think about how you dress and your interests. When I was in high school, this is one of the stories I like to tell with this sort of thing. I loved Disney. Loved it. I had a Disney playlist on my MP3 player. Wasn't cool enough for an iPod, but I had a Disney playlist, and I remember one time in grade 11 or 12, someone stole my MP3 player from me, stuck the headphones in, heard that I was listening to whatever I was listening to, Aladdin, Lion King, something, and started making fun of me in front of the whole class. You know, Lindsay likes Disney, Lindsay's a baby, and I was mortified. Flash forward a couple years when I went to university for theater, and everyone was singing Disney songs. We would break out in class and we would sing it together, and I regretted so much letting something I was passionate about make me feel ashamed, because it's all about finding your niche, finding the people who have the same passions as you. And on the other hand of that, no one cares as much as you think they do about you, especially when you're in high school or in a situation like that. Everyone's human. They're probably not even noticing that you have a big pimple on your forehead because they're worried about the one that they have on their cheek. Everyone's very self-aware, self-focused on themselves, honing in on themselves and their flaws, and they're focused on that, and it's never as big of a deal for anybody else as it is for you. So, people don't care about the things you think they care about. Everyone's human, everyone makes mistakes, everyone wants to help each other when given the chance. And yes, high school is a tough one, people are still figuring it out, people are meaner than they are as adults some of the time, but just remembering that they're people, you can maybe move forward and help other people feel better about themselves by showing that you don't care about their flaws and you don't care about things like that either. My advice number 3, and this kind of steps on the toes of number 2, don't sweat the small stuff. Now, this is a social media channel about mental health. I have anxiety. I sweat the small stuff all the time. And I mentioned it with my Page a Day journal, where you write a little bit every day about what's going on, and I would go back and read the thing from last year today, where I would be having this huge anxiety attack, and a year later I don't remember it. In the moment, it's so hard to get out of the moment and to realize this isn't be all end all, this isn't the end of the world. In the moment, it's impossible, it's tough, but that's a piece of advice I have for myself in every stage of my life that I still need to remember going forward, is not to sweat the small stuff, because yes, they build up. Yes, they can seem overwhelming, but in a day, a week, a month, a year, it won't matter. You might not even remember it. And this is a kind of mantra thing that it won't be a quick fix. It won't be, oh, I didn't think of it that way. But telling yourself, will I remember this next year? Will I care? Is very helpful to me, and I hope it can be helpful for you too. Step 4 is a big one for me. In every stage of my life, and it is stop waiting. Stop, teenage Lindsay, stop waiting to have a boyfriend. Stop waiting to lose 10 pounds. Stop waiting until you're in university. Stop waiting until you have a good job. Stop waiting until you have enough money. Just stop waiting. This one is a really tough one for me because I'm always waiting for that next stage in life. You know, even right now, I'm in a bit of an in-between. I'm finishing up school. I'm figuring out what my job situation is going to be moving forward. I'm getting married next year. My financial situation is scary. It's worse than it's been in a long time, and a huge part of me wants to skip ahead to when I'm married, or skip ahead to when I'm financially stable, or skip ahead to when I don't have all of these job questions, or skip ahead to when I'm in shape. And it reminds me of that movie Click, if you've ever seen it, the one with Adam Sandler, where he gets a remote control where he can fast forward through things in his life that he doesn't like or that he finds boring, and then he realizes he's fast forwarding through a lot of important things that didn't seem important at the time, and he wishes he could go back. So I always try to think of that, or imagine myself as an old lady, and, you know, longing to be 27 again, and all of the things I would do if I had the time and if I had the health. So those are ways I try to live every day, of just live for today. And again, this is a reminder to me because I struggle with it. This isn't me telling you I've figured it out. It's a big process that I have to go through every day too. A lot of days I would rather skip than live through. It's like that other movie, if you've ever seen, About Time. This is an incredible movie that I highly, highly recommend, about a man who can travel back in time and fix his mistakes. And bit of a spoiler alert, but at the end of the movie, he doesn't even use it anymore because he pretends that he purposefully went back to every single day to live it. So he lives every day like he's gone back to it, and it's an important day, and to live it to its fullest. And I think that's a wonderful message too. So stop waiting. Life is short. Live in the moment. And my last piece of advice, and this is probably the hardest, the hardest for me, the hardest for people I know, the hardest for everybody, and it shouldn't be, and it's love yourself. It's 2 words, but it's the most complicated, loaded 2 words that people can struggle with for their entire life. People struggle with low self-esteem and bad body image and all of these things where when you look back, like I've had moments where I found a picture of myself when I was 15 and I thought I was so fat when I was 15 and I was a good 30 pounds less than I am now. Mentally now, I know I'm not fat. I'm okay with that. But back then, it's so frustrating to think that I was thin and an athlete and I hated myself. And so many other people, you know, just don't love themselves because they think they're too fat, or they think their hair's too curly, or they think their nose is too big, or they think they're not smart enough or talented enough. And everybody has their pros and cons, their strengths and weaknesses. And it takes a lifetime to figure out yours sometimes. But when you find things that make you happy, when you find things that make you light up, I've had people say this when you talk about theater, when you talk about your family, when you talk about the book you're writing, you just light up when you find things. Sorry, I'm getting emotional, but it's important. When you find things that light you up, hold on to them and appreciate that they do that for yourself, and love yourself for enjoying those things and for pursuing those things and for having passion. Sorry guys. Yeah, so I think this is a very important video, and I hope that it helps you. I hope that it helps your past self, your present self, your future self, and I'm hoping it will help me too when I go back and watch it. So thank you so much, Thriving Millennials. I love all of you, and have a wonderful rest of your day.